The first two people I'd like to introduce who are going to help you today are David Berrier. David is a graduate from, I think, the very, very first Leadership Academy. He's been a CTE director at Deer Park ISD for how many years now? Too long. And he has been helping us with the Leadership Academy again for, I won't say too long, but for many years. And so I'd like to welcome him up. But also then Michael Chapman. Michael Chapman is with Region 9. That's a Wichita Falls area, is that? And so he has been a ESC CTE specialist for, I know, a number of years, and is a tremendous resource. How many? 9 years. So he's a tremendous resource. You'll find that among the ESC specialists, there's some who've been around, I'm going to say, for a long time, that everybody kind of looks to for leadership and direction. I think Carrie and Maya are a couple of those also. But then there's also those who have specialties in other areas that then people reach out to them for maybe their expertise in a particular area. So, Michael, are you ready? What I'd like to do is then invite Michael and David up to talk about marking your calendar.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome again on behalf of the conference this afternoon. We would like to welcome you as well. And today, this afternoon, we've got some great stuff planned for you during this session. So we're going to talk about your calendars and see if we can give you some information on how to plan as well as implement your CTE courses through the day. And this is David's calendar, so I'm going to let him talk about that.
And y'all thought it was the Ice Age, right? Nah, they just missed the boat. I have this hanging in my office, and quite honestly, I refer to it often. And I can tell you this, that whether you're just a CTE director or whether you're a welding teacher, CTE director, bus driver, or whatever your schedule is, you're going to be a busy person. And the calendar that we have put together is certainly not going to match your calendar perfectly, and we know that, but there are some specific things that are due at generally specific times of the year. I have friends that I work with in the Deer Park, Houston area, and, I just hate them because by June 15th, they've got their Perkins done and their PERS done and all that. And I go, God, why do you do that? You make me feel bad. So anyway, mine's a little bit later in the summertime, but whatever fits you is important. And I think you're going to see there's going to be a lot of flexibility. Michael's in Wichita Falls. I'm near Houston. I can promise you things are different. What we want to do, though, we want to kind of make you work during this session. We're going to divide you up by birthdays. Okay. If you would kind of refocus up here for just a moment. Should never let teachers get together and talk. I know that. That's number one rule. But if you would refocus up here, Michael we're going to run through these months. And I do know that there's some things on here that maybe need to be tweaked just a little bit. But if you would look at these and go through them with us, some of the things that need to be done in almost every CTE program in these particular months, and I'm not going to read all of them to you because you can read as good as I can. And this is on the presentation on your app if you've got that. I know technology is wonderful. I was looking for a handout. I'm old. Okay, July is a good time to think about your non-discrimination statement. We usually put ours out in Deer Park. It usually goes out the 1st of August. We have 2 local newspapers. We put it out in English and Spanish. Depending on what your community is like, you would need to put it out in English, and if there's another predominant language. And I always get a nice reminder note from Monel Rougeau, my ESC4 representative right over there. So I always appreciate that, Monel. I'll send you the bill on that. Can I send you the bill? It's gotten expensive in our community. Houston Community Newspapers does that for us, and they tell us, well, it's cheaper to put it out in all 11 newspapers than it is just 2 because they put it in the classified ads. and then they have to change it up if we only want to. So I don't know who else gets it in Houston, but Deer Park and Pasadena get covered, so that's all I'm worried about. If you're recruiting new teachers in July, and I had to do that this year with one person, but you're behind. So I would say recruit new teachers a little bit earlier. Prepare Perkins Grant and submit it, and prepare the PER and submit it. They're not due in July, but, you know, when you get close to the beginning of school, I don't know about you, but things get really busy with me, and I want to have that stuff done. Okay. August, when's the PER due this year? Okay, so it got moved back a little bit. It used to be a little bit earlier. Perkins Grant, when is it due? Have you submitted your Perkins Grant? I'm hoping you have. Okay. Review your PEIMS data, student attendance accounting handbook. Check that out. It usually gets a little bit revised every year. It's always good to get a new copy. We get one from our technology folks. Look your master schedule, career prep and practicums, kind of go through those, think about them. Problems and solutions, that's one of those things that 17, 18, we're not going to have any problems or solutions, I guess, right? We'll probably have problems, but we won't have that course or those courses. Generally, you're doing some kind of staff orientation and advisory committees, and then meet with your counselors concerning the class loads and what have you. September, you can see the things that are listed there. One of the most important things in September is kind of start getting ready for that PEIMS, that last Friday in October snapshot date. And I know schools do this different ways. And certainly some people, I know some folks even have a service that does it. We tend to do ours the old-fashioned way because we feel like it's a little more accurate. And I'm not in a very large, I'm in a large high school district, but not a large district like the gentleman from HISD might be. In October, a lot of different things are going on. It's a good time in October because we found when we get into the spring semester, as far as career interest and aptitude tests for the junior high folks, they get really busy with their all of their tests. So we try to do a lot of that in the fall. If you haven't formed an advisory committee, that it's a good time to get that going. And budgets should have already probably been out. And certainly your teachers are going to want to know the first day of school what their budget is probably. November, December, and January, a lot of things are going on. It's a good time to sort of get ready for that spring rush. I know there's a lot of holidays during that time, so you have a lot of downtime, but it kind of seems like the downtime passes way faster than the work time does. But if you'll try to get some of the stuff caught up, and catching up, and then also preparing for the spring. One thing I want to mention, and sometimes it's the very end of January or the very 1st of February, is we call it midwinter, and now it's called something winter. TCEC winter. There it is. Okay. Very good conference. Just because I can't remember the name of it, that doesn't mean it's not any good. Okay. Sometimes I don't remember my name. But anyway, TCEC winter is sponsored by CTAT, and you heard from them earlier. A fantastic organization. And let me also encourage you to join your local CTAT group. In Houston, we have an amazing group. And I can tell you this, I've gotten more information from the folks in my area, and because we all have the same problems, and usually somebody has a solution. February is CTE Education Week. Look at your FTE reports. You can kind of start thinking about program evaluations. March, depending on how many advisory committee meetings you have, that's a good time to knock that out. Again, March, you've lost a week of that month, usually because of spring break. April, by that time, what's the rule about Perkins that why shouldn't you save Perkins till the end of the year to spend it? Yes, sir. Thank you. So if I order a greenhouse in April, and it arrives in May in a box, and I have to put it together. Is it really going to help those students during that grant year? No. We try to, personally in Deer Park, we try to spend our Perkins money pretty early on in the school year. Sometimes if you're buying a lab, that's done really easy, really quickly. But if you're not making a major purchase, just try to get that taken care of so you don't have to either send it back or have to justify why you didn't use it during that school year. June is a lot of people will, again, my friends that I don't like, I do like them. They're very good friends. But Sarah Robleski at Pasadena, I saw her about mid-June. She said, "You got your Perkins done?" I said, "No, I hadn't even looked at it." And she said, "Mine's done." I just go, "Sarah, I didn't really want to hear that, because I feel like a slacker." Back in May, April, as soon as and I don't know about how competitive things are in your area, but as soon as I know a teacher is leaving, in fact, our district will tell you, "Hey, if you're going to leave and you're leaving under good terms, if you'll tell us by March 1st, we'll give you $1,000. And it's a bonus. It's sort of a notice of leaving. That's when I start looking for that teacher. I mean, I don't waste any time because it's very competitive, and you get into the areas like health science and some of the tech ed teachers, it's just really hard to find. What we want you to do is we want you to work with your birthday group, and we want you to look at this. Again, it's on your app, and I want you to talk at your table about what you do during your birthday month that is not mentioned here. So you get to talk again, but think about your schedule. Michael's in Wichita Falls. I'm in Houston. I can tell you we don't do the same things at the same time. We just finished our big livestock show, and that's a good thing for a CTE director to get behind them, except my job at the livestock show is pretty easy. I have friends that are in Humble. They do everything. They do the auction, they collect the money, they go through the whole deal. Fortunately, we have the Pasadena Rodeo Association that does that. So talk at your table about what you do that's different or added to the month information that we've got on the screen.
All right, here we go. Everybody, let's come back together. You have been given a sheet that you're going to take some notes on in regards to some things that you knew about the calendar, some things that you didn't know, and then also some deadlines that you might need to meet. But while you were in your groups talking, I want you to think about and share at your tables 2 things again that you didn't know that were listed in regards to the month that you were doing for your birthday. And you're going to use your sheet that we handed out. Does everybody have a copy? And you can use the calendar again if you need to. All right, so I see some people that are moving on to the next 3 calendar action items. And I know you've had some time to discuss those 2 items that were a shock to you and maybe not on your to-do list. So what we're going to do is we want you to move on to the next step for goal setting. Look at that second box over to the right where it says prioritize your next 3 CTE calendar action items. Include a deadline for yourself. And the reason why we want you to include a deadline is because we eventually want you to post this up in your area. Because you've just been given 12 months of things and also some things that are ongoing that you probably didn't know.
So what Maya and I had kind of envisioned when we wanted to plan for our afternoon with you, because we know this is a lot of stuff. We know that some of you may be 7 weeks into this whole idea of CTE program management. And when we say, what are you going to do next? You're like, I don't know, survive. Hopefully I'll go back to school on Monday and see what's next. What we wanted to have it for is sort of a visioning planning tool for you. Because what we really do want is for you to take this home and slap it up by your computer so that you can see it and remind yourselves why you're doing what you're doing. And so the next kind of talk about item that we wanted to do with you in terms of planning activities is to look at the IV bag that you've got in your bottom left corner. And think about how many of you are brand new to the district where you're working. Not necessarily the role, but the district. Okay, so we've got a few of you that this next piece might be a little tough because you may not have been in your district long enough to know what is going really well and what is not. But the rest of you, although you may have inherited a new position, you've been at your district for a little bit. And so the next activity that we have down there is, what is it, think about kind of globally in your CTE department that you wish happened better. And so what is the activity that you would like to breathe some new life into over the course of this school year as your new role in terms of leading CTE? So we're going to give you another couple of minutes to talk to each other at your table, outline what that activity is, and maybe kind of in your mind when it has to happen on the calendar, okay? All right, a couple more minutes to work on that and we'll move on. Okay, so hopefully you've got your new activity planned out, or not new activity, sorry. You have an idea of what activity you want to revitalize. And it sounds like y'all are having great conversations. So we've got one more thing for you, so if you'll listen up real close, then we'll be finished. I have to talk loud, you're not listening to me. Teacher voice, all right, so on your last piece of the corner, you have a prescription. And what we want you to do is set a goal for yourself. You have a ton of things on that list of paper right up there. There are activities that you may never get to do. But we want you to kind of plan for something that you will do, that you're going to hold yourself accountable for, and so that one promise to yourself for the year. So this one is not one you necessarily have to share unless you just have bonded with your table mates and you really want to tell them what you plan on doing for the year. But write a prescription for yourself. So what is that one goal that you have as the leader of the program at your school?